Shay, my friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Shay, and today we're going to start another reading vlog. I'm also known as the person that is hemmed in by a bunch of boxes, so I'm in this tiny little space, and that's because all of this stuff, my daughter is starting a very intensive program. School starts by next week, and she is in the gifted accelerated program, and my husband also works in IT, and we've been meaning to get a home office computer set up for quite some time, and now we've waited to the absolute last minute to do such. So I have all these boxes that I have bought stuff from. Now we're just waiting for the desk to come. Of course, the desk is the last thing to come, so we're waiting for the desk to arrive so that we can get all this stuff situated before school starts. Am I excited about school starting? No, because like I have to get up earlier, and I have to attend this whole orientation about how to deal with this accelerated program and the stress of it that my daughter's going into. So I am not quite sure if I will like school this year. But it's time to start a new vlog, and right now it's August the 2nd. It's about to turn August the 3rd because it's almost midnight. So I'm exhausted, and I have been stressed out for the past few days. Like, I don't know if you guys are like this. I was watching Jessie May's wrap up, and I'll link her channel down below, but her wrap up and TBR for the month of August, and she talked about how in there that she gets all kind of stressed if she doesn't complete all of her books in that month, and like she's still in the middle of a book when the first of the month rolls around. And I'm feeling all of that because like I'm also one that likes to be like at a clean slate on the first of the month, and that did not happen this month. I have feverishly been in my reread of Dark Age, which is a chunky boy. It's 750 some pages, I think. I don't know, but it's very chunky, and I finally finished it. But it took me forever because I was just finding myself watching TV and doing other things instead of reading Dark Age, which I needed to read. Then I got stressed out because the first of the month passed me by and I couldn't start over fresh. So, but that's fine. That's fine. I am now done with Dark Age, and now I can start my August reads. I am feeling a little bit better about myself. I did mention in my TBR that I was going to be pulling some books out of my own jar and reading that, and I will be doing that throughout the month. Maybe a week, maybe two, I don't know. I find this to be motivating and for me to knock some books off my TBR. So I did this in May. I'll link that video up in the cards or down below, where I did 2 videos, 2 weeks of it, reading out of my backlist jar. And now, because I hauled so many books in the month of June and July, there's a book haul coming up. You should have seen another book haul from me by the time this video is up, because it was my birthday month. So I've hauled so many books, and the jar is getting full, and it's time to read some of the books that I own. I am hoping beyond hope that I can get some physical reads out of here. I also have the ability to say, heck no, I'm not reading that, because right now I'm not in the mood to read physical because it's just the headspace I'm in from like taking forever to read Dark Age. I want something with an audiobook. So we will see what I get. I'm going to go ahead and pull a book. The hand goes in the jar. I'm kind of nervous. Okay. We have a slip of paper. No, it did not. The Will of the Many. Oh my God. This is a chunky boy. This is a chunky boy. But let me tell you something. I have never been so excited to get a book. So I saw another review. Reagan from Peruse Project, in her wrap up, she said this was like one of her favorite books of the month. Definitely, and possibly of the year. So I also heard Patrick say such great things about that. So that's why I bought it. And it's a physical copy. And where did it go? It's somewhere. And yes, it is a chunky boy. But I think that this may help me. Let's see how many pages it is. Oh my gosh, it's 620 pages. But if it's good, I will just read right on through this bad boy. I'm excited. I'm excited. I've been wanting to read this. This is one of my most anticipated reads of the year after hearing the buzz and the reviews on this. And I am going to get started on this. I will check back in with you guys when I'm a little bit farther along to tell you how I'm feeling about the book. Okay, so I'm still in my little cramped corner because my desk is not here till Monday, and it is now Saturday, August the 5th. And I have made a teeny bit of progress into the Will of the Many. I haven't updated it prior to now because I was reading this as I was cleaning today. I don't know what it is, but you ever feel like we're starting the new school year? My kids start school on Monday. Like, the house has to be so clean before we start because I need a fresh start. And so that's what I've been doing today. And while I've been doing that, I've been listening to The Will of the Many. I did immersion read the first 100 pages so I could kind of get into the world a little bit, and then I've been listening to it. I'm currently on page like 178. And here's my thoughts. Number one, I've heard nothing but praise about this book. It's really, really the reason why I'm struggling. I am, I've fallen into the hype zone, which generally happens every single time I read a book that is hyped. I am let down. I'm not saying I'm let down now, but at 178 pages, I feel like I'm not as attuned to the world as I would like to be. I'm not connecting with the characters as much as I would like to be. So at this point in the story, it's like a 600-page book, but I'm still not where I would like to be in the story. So we basically, without giving any spoilers, this boy is an orphan in the society. He really does not believe in the hierarchy, the government of this world. He does not want to ever cede will to people that are higher up. This is a caste system. So we have the different castes of people, and the higher up you are, the lower people have to basically give you some of their power. Okay, it's a very, very complicated magic system to explain. I can get the Red Rising references, but we're following this guy who is not on the caste system technically because he has not agreed to cede his will to anybody. Because of how things are, there are several people at play who want him to go and basically infiltrate this kind of school setting. We're 178 pages in. We haven't made it to the school yet, if that tells you how I'm going. We're still training to go into the school because he's trying to go undercover. He has some things to do before he can go there, so that they will not know that something's off about him. It's fine, but it's just not what I was expecting it to be, if that makes any sense. But I'm hoping to get about 100 more pages into this tonight so I can get more motivated, maybe find a reason to want to continue to pick this up. I also have to edit a video tonight, so that's what I'm gonna go do, and I will check back later. So it's Tuesday, and it's now the end of the second day of school, and I'm trying desperately to get back into the work life school balance here, and it's getting to me a little bit. So this is just the judge jacket, but I'm still reading The Will of the Many. I feel like I've been reading this book for 5,000 years, which, to be fair, I've been reading it for quite a long time, and I am on page 400. So I think the last time I checked in, maybe I was a little bit over 100 pages, and I'm still feeling the exact same way. Honestly, I struggle with DNFing things, but if this were me, I would DNF because I do not see this book getting any more than a 3-star for me. And should we continue to read things that are only going to be a 3-star, I don't know. The problem with this is just, number one, a lot of the motivation I don't understand. Some of it I understand, a lot of it I don't. I'm not convinced. I'm also not as invested in the plot or invested in these mysteries. So there's like a murder mystery plot in here. There's a lot of different mysteries happening and plot reveals and plot twists and things, but I'm not invested. So if I'm not invested in the characters, because I feel like you have to be invested in the characters to really care about where the plot is going or the mysteries surrounding the plot, and I'm just not invested. I could care less about any of these characters, and so that's my problem. But then my brain is telling me that everybody loves this book, you should read this book, you should finish it. And I kind of feel the same way about this as I did Fourth Wing. Not that I'm comparing writing styles or anything like that, but when I was reading Fourth Wing, I could have cared less about the characters. It did not draw me in. there was a lot of things going on in the plot that didn't make sense, but that's not why I'm comparing these. It's just the fact that I felt similar when I was reading Fourth Wing as far as getting connected with the characters that I do in The Will and the Many. I just feel like these characters are just not my kinds of characters. I don't even know what makes me not want these characters. Of course, my AC is going to turn on. So I'm going to make this quick. I'm going to keep reading and I'll check in later. So the last time that we spoke was yesterday, and shortly after I turned it off, I got to thinking about reading because I'm getting into a slump, and it's because of The Will of the Many. I'm 400 pages into this book and I'm going to DNF it, and I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with DNFing such a popular book that everybody loves, and I feel like people are going to give me hate, but I think reading is subjective, and what is happening in this book necessarily is just not working for me. It has nothing to do with the Allington's writing style or anything like that. I personally like his writing style. It is just nothing about the characters or the plot is working for me. Also, after this, I was like, okay, well, I really want to know how the story ends. So I did spoil myself in how the story ends, and I'm not mad that I DNF'd. So not to say that, you know, the ending wasn't fantastic, but honestly, a good ending does not a book make, if that makes any sense. Like, you can't have a mediocre beginning and then a great ending and expect me to like you. I don't know. I often think sometimes, this is an unpopular opinion, that Brandon Sanderson does this. Like, he has these really explosive endings, but some of the other, you know, how we get there does not entice me that much. So I'm going to DNF this. Let's go ahead and pick out of this. I will tell you if it's a very, very long book, I'm going to say no to that one, but let's go ahead and pick this book. Okay, I see it. Okay. This is by Stephen William Hanna, The First Rule, which I have just right here. So this is a self-published fantasy that's also in Spiffo 9 this year, and I am happy to read this book. Now, I will have to read this physically, but it's a short thing, and I think that I can get through it rather quickly. So I'm gonna go and do that, and I will check in when I have more thoughts. Okay, so it's now Saturday, and I'm 133 pages into The First Rule. I have about 200 pages left to go. I actually had to make myself stop to come and update this vlog. I am really liking this book so far. We're following basically two main characters. We have Temple and we have our priestess Venalia. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce her name, but that's how I'm saying it. And she's a priestess. She has some powers, but the book starts out with Temple. He is kind of escaping from this place, and all his comrades that he went to this mission for have been devoured by this deadly choir of singing people that once they get a hold of you, she takes you into her choir, and now your shade, your soul, your spirit is now also going to try to kill people. So he's fleeing from that, and he flees into the town where Venalia is this priestess. He's also a seer, and he sees that in the future he is helping Venalia, I guess, that he is helping a redheaded priestess to help fight this deadly choir aberration. And I'm enjoying it. I'm liking Venalia. She has just kind of graduated from priestess school. I guess this is kind of school society, and she has come back to the town where she grew up in to bury her adopted father, and she doesn't have the best rapport with some of the people there in her hometown. There's some animosity there with some of those people, and I'm enjoying that, her character arc, and I'm enjoying where the story's going. It's kind of a fantasy horror. We're building up to, I guess, this epic battle to fight these choir people. So I don't know what else to call them. Choir people? I don't know. But I am enjoying it. I also really love this cover. I really do. It's stunning. It drew me into wanting to read the book, for sure. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to continue to read this. It's a short read. It's going by very, very quickly, and I'm hoping to finish sometime today, and I will update you when I get farther in. I'm looking at a rather hot mess, but it's Sunday. And I have 100 pages left of The First Rule. by Stephen William Hanna. I'm still enjoying my time. It's leaning into more horror vibes right now, which I am loving. I'm really feeling my horror air right now, especially fantasy horror. So I'm happy. I normally don't like this kind of book just because I don't like books that take place over a very short amount of time, which is what this is. But I'm jiving with it better than a lot of books over short periods of time. So we'll kind of have to see where it goes, just because the plot is very fast paced. It's very exciting. So I am jiving with it a little bit more. I am finding it hard. The reason why I don't like stories generally that take place over a short amount of time is because I don't get to know the characters. It's kind of like a novella feel. I don't get to know the characters, and then I don't really get the world building. I don't get enough. I don't get enough of what I want. I'm just getting this sneak peek into these people's lives for this amount of days. So my problem with this, a lot of it is I feel like these characters are acting like they've known each other for years, but really they haven't. So that also kind of, Temple and Vanellope are acting like they've been friends for decades and they're trusting each other, and I'm not quite like there with how close people are trusting of people that they have known for a few days. Just saying. But that's my only flaw here with this book. I am going to continue reading. I am still liking my time, and I will check in later. It's Thursday night, and I have finally finished The First Rule by Stephen William Hanna. And the reason this took me so long to read had nothing to do with the book. First, I'm still getting into the kind of groove of school being back in session. My daughter, I don't know if I said this earlier, but she has started this honors program that's very intensive, and so I'm trying to get a routine down of getting her to school at a certain time and homework at the end of the day, and balancing all of that with reading and cooking dinner and being with my family and doing all the house chores. And it's proving to be a little bit difficult. So we're in the second week of school, and so I'm hoping that maybe by the start of September I will have more of a kind of groove, because I'll know more of kind of what the schedule is going to be. So anyway, I finally finished Stephen William Hanna, and this is the first book. It's August 17th. This is the first book I have finished this month, which is crazy because I read 400 pages of The Will of the Many, but DNF'd. Obviously, I can't say I completed that. I'm halfway in the middle of another book, and I have now finished The First Rule. So my thoughts on this are, where Stephen William Hanna shines is absolutely positively his character work. Vanellope and Temple are the two main characters of this book, and I actually felt the emotions of those characters, and I really connected with these characters. The plot was fine. Like I said, I think that people going in thinking that this is more of a horror will enjoy it more than people who go into it thinking it may just be a fantasy. See, I went into it blind, so my fantasy mindset was, hey, I have to have this awesome world building, and the pacing has to be fantastic, and the characters' work has to be fantastic, and all of these things I want kind of well-rounded. Whereas sometimes when I go into horror, I'm like, man, I just want to know what's going on and be like immersed in what's going on in the present moment. And so this book takes place in a short period of time, which I think I've said before that normally I don't jive with that kind of setting that takes place over a short amount of time. So that kind of took some getting used to, but once I did, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the plot. I had a few issues towards the end of the book, but it wasn't enough to bring my enjoyment down or to say that I don't want to continue on with the next book. So I'm going to need the next book to come out. It's not currently out, so that I can continue on. And I still believe that this book has a gorgeous cover. And so I'm going to give this 4 stars. I'm going to close out this vlog because, and I feel ashamed because I only read one book technically in this, or finished one book, but that is life, and I hope to pick up the pace now that we're over halfway through the month. I'm gonna try to pick up my reading pace. All right, guys, catch you in the next one.